our pages for people to be able to use. So today we have a rare treat in our class. One of my good friends, Tino, is here to talk about his career in music and hip hop. He's going to play a few songs for us as well. And so I've asked him to talk a little bit about his biography, how he got started in music. I would love for you to address how you write, how you put the songs together, and of course anything else that you want to add to that. Of course, everybody should be taking copious notes because I've been known to write test questions around what guest speakers have shared with us. But Tino is a fantastic musician and artist, and I hope you will join with me and give him a great University of Dayton welcome. Everybody, it's Tino. Thank you so much.
Well, this is my first guest lecture, so it's probably going to be trash. I'm going to let y'all know that right on the bat. Like Art said, my name's Tino. Well, that's my rap name. My full name is Valentino. I was born on Valentine's Day, so that's how I got that name. But I decided to go by just by Tino because I feel like everybody would expect me to like sing R&B if I just went by Valentino. So I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, oldest son of a reverend. I had two little sisters. I grew up in church. I went to church about 4 times a week as a kid. I know, that's too much church. I went to church a lot, but I feel like the foundation of my stage presence was from watching preachers growing up. Because you can see how a preacher can control a crowd, they can speak to people, engage them. They knew exactly when to hit the right inflections to make a crowd get moved and stirred up and feel something. So I don't know, I guess through osmosis, I absorbed a lot of that growing up. I came down to Wright State, I know Wright State, school, went over there, was doing double E, electrical engineering, but it wasn't really what I was passionate about. Like I would go to class, do okay for a person who was up playing games all night and hanging out with the homies, but that wasn't really what I was like. I couldn't see myself going to an office job, 9 to 5 every day. And so some people can do it, some people can't, but for me that just didn't seem like what I wanted my life's trajectory to go on. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. Friend was going on, he was getting married in Florida, and I was listening to an album in the hotel room. I'm a dark-skinned person. In the summertime, I can't get darker, and it was summertime in Florida, so your boy was inside at a hotel room until about 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. every night, because I was not dealing with that Florida sun trying to make me extra crispy. But I was listening to albums, and some girl had broke my heart. And so, I don't know, I just started writing. And I was writing, wrote a whole verse, looked at it, and I was like, this is okay. Don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Fast forward a few months, I just kept writing. Didn't know what I was gonna do with any of it. And then one day I was like, let's just record it and put it on YouTube. So I recorded a lot of trash verses with a laptop mic. I put the stuff on YouTube, and people on YouTube don't owe you. They're not your friends. They don't have any allegiances to you. So when they come across something on the internet, they generally brutally honest. Like, so I got trolled sometimes, but for the most part, the reception for the music that I put out on YouTube was well received. So I was like, okay, what do you do now? Because at this time, YouTube was popping, SoundCloud was popping. People was getting signed off and stuff, but I was like, that really doesn't seem like the kind of stuff that I do. Like, it's not mainstream style hip hop. So I was like, what can I find? Where can I find a place to do what I do? I was going to this bar, One Eye Jack's, and watching football on Sundays, but I found out they had an open mic. So I went to the open mic, and there was a girl there who was playing, and she was like, incredible. And I was like, well, I can never come back here again because nobody's going to hear this trash music that I got to perform for y'all. But then about Wednesday of the next week, I was like, if I just get there before her and play, maybe nobody will compare me to her. Because that's like the biggest thing is like, growing up as a kid, I had stage fright, and I guess I kind of still got it because y'all make me nervous right now. But, and also I have dyslexia. So when I get in nervous situations, my mind works a little weird, triggers things, and so I may invert words or flip things or flip phrases. So I was like, how are you going to do an open mic? But I decided this is something that I'm really passionate about. I haven't really had something in my life that I was really passionate about. So let me go to this open mic. And I went to the open mic, I performed, that same girl was there, and when I got off stage, she was like, I think what you're doing is really cool, but nobody can hear you. Because I used to be like, so it took a while. I went to that open mic for a year, a straight year, and I learned how to perform based on watching people who performed at the open mic, and also that venue had shows on Friday and Saturday. So I would go and watch who was good, who was bad. I would take notes on what they did, what was engaging about their performances, and I tried to assimilate that into what I did until I got to the point where I was comfortable on stage, where it was almost like breathing. It wasn't really any thought put into it. When I first started out, everything was going on. What is that guy? Why is he chewing gum? Why is she wearing a hat? Like, it was like you think about these things distract you, and you lose where you're at in the moment. And I feel like the stage performance is like my favorite part of music. It's because it's like the most genuine conveyance of what an artist feels. Like a recording is, you try to embody that presence that you feel in that song, but who knows if you nail it. But when you're live and other people are hanging on everything that you say, that I feel like is when an artist is most special. That's why I like artists who like Kendrick Lamar, when he looks like when he performs, he loves that moment. I saw him at OU maybe a year or two ago, and like different artists, some people don't really enjoy the stage presence. They get on there, they got the track playing in the background, they got the music going, and they just expect you to be hyped, but they're not really giving you anything in return. But after I started doing that stuff, some guy I knew, he was like, hey, you dope. I do recordings in my apartment. I stay in the same apartment building as him. He was like, hey, come over, let's record some stuff. I'm not gonna charge you, I'm not gonna bust your head. He actually got paid like sweatshop money to record that first album. It sounds terrible, but it was a thing that I had to do to learn how to go through the recording process, because that in itself is a different animal than performing on a stage. Like, you have to learn breath control when you're in front of a microphone. You have to learn how to bring your stage presence to a microphone, but the microphones can't handle exactly what it is that you do. That microphone picks up everything. So if your tongue pops or if your teeth hits it, it hears all of that. So if you listen to any of those recordings that, like, if anybody puts up, like those recordings, it takes a lot, like, for them to like sound as good as they do. Don't get me wrong, engineers do make those kids sound really good, but it is a real art form to recording, performing, and once I learned how to record, I put out a few more albums, and then I took a little break from music. My pops passed, and me and my ex split, and I just didn't I found myself lost again, and I didn't know what I was gonna do with my life. And then at that point, it was when music came back and was like, this is what you've always done when you didn't know what you were gonna do in life. This is what you've been doing. And so I took it back to the microphone, and I've been performing ever since. 2011 was when I started, and so I've been doing this for about 7 years now. In terms of like career, I don't ever think of it as like the thing that I'll do for a living, but I do well with, like, I've made a few $1,000s each year perform. I played in Columbus, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Youngstown. I played in Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, St. Louis. I do a lot of traveling. People, like, you meet a lot of people from playing local venues, and they're from out of town. You show swap and stuff like that of that nature. just, I feel like I do music just because I don't, like my normal job, I work at Reynolds and Reynolds. I do information technology, I do IT work. So I didn't get that far away from what I started off doing. But on the day-to-day, if all I did was just do the regular job and I had nothing else to look forward to or nothing else to like inspire me to like get to the weekend, I don't feel like I'd be a fulfilled person. So music for me is like an outlet. It's something that I see me doing for a while, longer. I mean, but I'm not really concerned with the like getting on the radio and being poppin' like type aspect of being a hip hop artist. Like for me, it's just it's that thing that I really can't do without. And like some people play basketball and they'll never make the league, like, but they will never stop going to the gym. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I guess hip hop is for me. I really feel like I should ask questions, but I don't know if anybody has any questions. Does anybody have any? Yes.
You said you work at Reynolds and like that seems like a demanding job as it is. So like, how do you balance like following your passion and having a full-time job?
Well, at Reynolds, like it is a full-time. Like when I'm there, I'm really into it. But I don't have to take Reynolds work with me, being in the because nobody is like I deal with servers and field engineers and stuff like that. So like if somebody's server is down, unless I have the pager, because like there's a pager and a laptop that you take with you at home. But other than that, once I leave that job, I'm done with Reynolds. And then so I balance my girlfriend and the dog. There's more balancing juggling act than actually doing the Reynolds job. Because when I get home, you know, ladies need attention, and you gotta pay attention to her, and then you also gotta take care of the dog. But at the end of the night, I'm a night owl. I've always been a night owl. So like, I'll stay up till 3, 4 in the morning, and that's when I'm like, if I can tear myself away from NBA 2K, that's where I am. That's when I'm writing songs, and I think I write the best. Speaking of, you guys about my writing process, I think I write the best in between sleep and awake, and so that's why a lot of times I write so late, because it's in that weird place in between sleep and awake that I find like, it's like, who is this person? Like, because the things that come out are not, they don't feel like it's my actual self, but I know it is me, but it's like a subconscious consciousness that I enjoy. That's why I write so late.
Can you play a song for us?
Oh, okay. Is it okay if I play I want to play the first song I wrote.
Of course.
It's a really, this is just going to let you know how non-mainstream rap I am. Because I wrote a song about Homer's honesty when I first created music. This was weird. Check, check. Yeah. With every day away, I was missing you more. You know I didn't want to leave to go and fight this war. To end this thing quickly, we built a Trojan horse. Now my ship set sail, and home is my course. Zeus is my witness, it's nobody misses you. Ask a blind Cyclops, he'll tell you this too. Poseidon may try, but I'm gonna make it home. Man, it's been a long time, I bet our boy is grown. I spoke to Iolas with a bag of wind, but I won't be home soon. They took off the green man because they couldn't wait and had no trust. Coincidentally, now we must. I love to think the freaks me, cause they do bonus. Wanna be a flagship in a handful of soldiers. It's wild out here, baby. Never trust the wine. I want to slip you something, it'll turn you to swine. I'm only immune, thanks to Hermes. They get my crew back, I had to satisfy her needs. I swear admit, nothing, that's just how it went down. You're the queen of my heart, I never give away your crown. See, it's hard when home is what you wanna see, but home I got you stuck here on this side of sea. I just wanna get back to my Penelope, but home I got me stuck here on this side of sea. I said it's hard when home is what you wanna see, but home I got you stuck here on this side of sea. I just wanna get back to my Penelope, but home I got me stuck here on this side of sea. Yeah, that's the first song Like the first song I ever wrote. Appreciate it. Let's do this one. Sometimes I sing, I don't feel like I'm gonna try to sing now. It's really bad singing, so.
You don't need nobody else.
Yeah.
You're putting this all on me.
Remember me, the kid from Compton. I'm still with it, and you still with it. I mean, by now, we could've quit. And no one would have blamed us. It was famous, then I settled down. A few years later, we still around. Got some got the last laugh. I was so gas on that thing on last, but I won't lie. Talk to the past. Got at you, I got at you, and you know why. It's the last try. How many times we say that? How many times we play that? Scenario, like here we go. This again, that again. Having that same old strategy. So why these confessions like a sinner at the Vatican? Cause even at our worst, we wanted to make this work. See, even when it hurt, we thought of each other first. Like, hey, hey, hey. See, even at our worst, we wanted to make this work. See, even when it hurt, we thought of each other first. So nobody else. So tell them, say what they need to say. Say what they need to say and say no more. Tell them, say what they need to say. Say what they need to say and say no more. Tell them, say what they need to say. Say what they need to say and say no more. I tell them, say what they need to say and say no more. I'm all yours. I'm all yours. Yeah. Could it be you, baby? Could it be you, yeah?
My foolish heart turns like the star.
Why am I a fool for you?
All the time, just all let you see. You don't need nobody else, and you're putting this all on me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we can't get foolish, and we're just too foolish. The fact this doesn't work, and that's exactly what it does. Like a bumblebee's wings, which carry no when they buzz. What's too small for flight, but yet they generate. Look, kinda how we got a bad rap, a cool to break. Give it to peel back the layers. See, no one took the time. They wrote us off as damaged goods and called us little mine. So now I feel inclined to put your mind at ease. You don't want the heart. Forget these other ladies. See, even when it's bad, I'm looking for nothing better. Cause I know what I had to the moment that I met her. Hey, hey, yeah. See, even when it's bad, I'm looking for nothing better. Cause I know what I had to the moment that I met her. So, yeah. So tell them, say what they need to say. Say what they need to say, then say no more. I told them, say what they need to say. Say what they need to say, then say no more. Let them say what they need to say. Say what they need to say, then say no more. I told them, say what they need to say, then say no more. I'm all yours. I'm all yours. Vibe with me one time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I told them, they better speak now, or forever holding peace. Tell them speak now, or forever holding peace. Gotta speak now, or forever holding peace. Let them speak now, or forever holding peace. You ain't gotta love it, but I gotta let you know I ain't never, ever felt this way before. So say what you will, but you should probably know. No matter what you say, I ain't hearing it no more. I appreciate y'all letting me be up here, do my thing. I'm gonna turn the class back over to you, R. Is that all right?
Questions for Tino?
Yes, okay. Yes, sir. In the back. You got his hand up fast.
Who are your like musical influences?
Man, crazy old Kanye. I love him still, but he crazy as. Can I say hell?
Yeah,
Too late. I
say
said
whatever you
He
like.
crazy as hell. I love him, but he crazy as hell. I like Kanye, Kendrick, J. Cole, Wale, Common. Growing up, I loved a lot of LL Cool J. With my uncle, he was a big LL fan. Those would be, and then that's from the hip hop side. Like musically, Prince, Michael Jackson, those guys are like the highest pantheon of performing artists for me. As far as like giving you a show, like I just remember watching the little videos of Michael Jackson and girls was like passing out when he was like, he hadn't even started singing and people were passing out. Like that's crazy. Like, but that's like one of my favorite. You had a question there, sir?
Yeah. So I was gonna ask, what has been the most like fun part of your musical career?
Man, the funnest, like getting to do stuff like this. Like I was a kid in class who was cracking jokes all the time. He could probably be one of the smarter kids in class. No teacher ever told me, you're never going to amount to anything. It was like, hey, can you just please focus? Because you can be something special. So like being able to do stuff like this and like, there's people who come up to me and be like, hey, my friend, listen to your, this is the craziest thing. My friend was like, he listened to your song, Friendly Reminder, and he used that to try and help him kick heroin. I was like, what? Like that doesn't register to me. Like there were some kids from Cedarville. I was playing a show at Yellow Cab Tavern. There's some kids from Cedarville, and like they were doing like a double date night checklist thing, and they were like, they came to the show, and they were like, hey, can we take a selfie with you? I was like, how do you know who I am? Like, and they were like, well, you were part of our date night checklist. We came here to take a selfie with Tino, the rapper, and like I was like I almost cried. Like I almost cried. Like I was like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, I don't know how you know me or how you got here, but you talking about you want to take a picture. Like so, like little instances like that is like, because it lets you know that you're not the only one listening to the stuff that you put out. You know. Any other questions? Yes.
How often do you work with like other artists?
I'm known in the Dayton area as like a frequent collaborator because there's not a big hip hop scene like as far as people who perform at venues, but there's a lot of rock bands that play in the Oregon district and around the area, and I've collaborated with a number of rock bands. Like I played with Night Beast, Moira, I've done stuff with Nova Gold, done stuff with God Bless and Asher Jones, and these are all bands that I like. They go, hey Tino, we respect what you do. We want to get you on a song or want to put you on a show, and then we build relationships like that. Because there's a ton of rappers. Trust me, y'all probably know 16 rappers right now, but that is in the dorm rooms or whatever on campus. But there's not a lot of people who actually put themselves out there and get on a stage before they're like a huge deal, you know. So that's the people that I collaborate with the most frequently. I don't think a lot of rappers want to rap with me. I feel like they might be intimidated somewhat. Not to say that I'm like, but I don't like. It's not the you know, yeah, you know. So I get on your track, I'm gonna spit some bars, and they so like I don't know if I want that lyrical miracle stuff. So it is what it is. Yes.
Do you make your own like background music? And, like,
No.
okay.
No. That's an art form in itself. The people who can like sit there and listen to a hi-hat, like just the same hi-hat over and then change it and slightly EQ it and make sure that it fits inside of a mix for instrumental like that, that is a tedious, arduous task, and I do not have the patience for that. But I do think I have a good ear for instrumentals, but I can't create them. Anybody else? Yes.
You don't create them, where do you get them
I know when you start out, you jack beats, that's what it's called. You jacking beats in the beginning. But as you get perform, you start to learn different, you get to get in touch with different producers in the area. So that one, it has a sample you might recognize from a Bryson Tiller song, from Trap Soul. But that sample itself is by a band called, it's like Symphonic Orchestra or something like that. It's a really tight song, but that's a sample in the background where that girl's going, all that you need, in the back of it. And they took that, they chop it up, and then he added his own drums to it. And so that is different from the actual Bryson Tiller song because it's using the same sample, so it sounds familiar, but it's a different song altogether. And that guy was Rucker, and I got to meet him and know him throughout the years. So he makes a good bit of my production.
Other questions?
I think we're good. I want to thank you again for letting me be here and be in front of y'all and do my thing. I'm Tino. You can find me at itstino.com. That's an obnoxiously large picture of myself right there. And I kept walking by and I'm like, God, you're an asshole. But that, you can find me on all those social media, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and all that good stuff.
Well, I'm curious, Tino, about your use of social media as an area performer. How does social media help you let people know about shows and things of that nature?
Social media, I mean, everybody is like, it's a tough thing though, like understanding the algorithms that go into like knowing when to post something. And like you're supposed to really, on like Instagram, you're supposed to be like making 3 posts a day. I can't do that. I just can't do it. You're supposed to like make a post in the evening, post in like right after work time, and then a post in the evening, because that like helps the algorithm like make your stuff seen more prominently on Instagram. But like I use it in a way, I do boost some posts so that people who are fans of the music, who fans of the music page, who already follow certain social media outlets, they do know that, hey, I got a show going on, or I'm dropping this album, or hey, I got a single or a music video or whatever. So I think social media is a huge platform. I don't even put flyers out anymore. Like I used to be a guy who put flyers out in the bars and stuff. It's like, it's stupid, because nobody, I walk past those, I never look at the flyers. So why would I expect somebody else to look at the flyers? Yes, sir.
What's your relationship been with like Spotify and Apple Music?
Like I'm just like getting on there and like in the last few months or so, because like I said in the beginning, you're jacking beats, so you don't own the production rights. So when you go on stuff like that, you need to own it for production rights. So like I'm getting original production and stuff uploaded on there. Like you don't get paid diddly for it. I mean, it's like 0.0048% of a cent for per play. But it's nice to have the visibility, because people are like, more people listen to a Spotify playlist than they listen to like albums. Nobody's listening to a direct album. Like what's the last time y'all listened to an album front to back? Huh?
Yeah, we had to do album reviews.
Well, okay. Well, where wasn't a song? Why am I still using this damn microphone? Y'all like looking like an asshole up here? Damn. I ain't need that. Okay. When was the last time you listened to an album of your own volition?
There you
front
go.
to back?
This summer.
It's cold as hell outside. You talking about this summer?
Yeah.
Yeah, people don't listen. Like it's not a thing that people do. So like you need to be on iTunes and Spotify and stuff of that nature, so that you can get, and a lot of guys who are getting popping now are on those playlists. So like you might not have ever heard of this artist, and all of a sudden he's on your Spotify playlist. So if he's on that playlist and you go to the gym, you put that playlist on, you hear him again. And that's the same thing that's going on for everybody who has a Spotify account. So then all of a sudden somebody who was in relative obscurity is now got 100 million plays, and he's going on tour with J. Cole, or he's going on tour with OG Mako or somebody like that. And that's how that game works. And it's a weird thing to try and find. I don't try to make music. I think a lot of people get caught up in trends and try to make music that sounds the most like the stuff that is on the playlist. But that, I feel like, is the opposite of what you need to do. Because if you're taking that approach where you're like, I'm just making this stuff to sound like somebody else, then how do you ever distinguish yourself as an artist? Because if you sound like somebody else, then I'm just gonna listen to that somebody else who does it better, and they have a catalog of established history like that already. So I feel like the stuff that really lasts is the stuff that, like, hey, I never heard that kind of stuff. Like Post Malone pop, because nobody really heard nothing like White Iverson when it dropped. It's like I was infatuated with White Iverson. I was like, man, I ain't never heard nothing like. And now you hear all these songs that sound like Post Malone songs, because he did something prior that was not like what was already in mass production.
So coming off of that, like what do you do to make your music sound different from like the next person?
I mean, the song about Homer's Odyssey wasn't weird enough for you? You need some more weird songs? I got songs on here about video games. I got songs on here. Like I write about what I know. And so as a person, like I think that's the most earnest and most honest. I'm not gonna be able to write about you selling your keys. Because I grew up in a bad area, and the guy next to me, he did get his house raided for selling dope. But my dad was not having that. He was a preacher. So like I can't tell you about, like I can fabricate some stuff, but that's not unauthentic to me. So when I get in front of a class like you, like I would feel like I'm lying to you if I was portraying something else. And maybe that's artistic integrity, and maybe I have too much of that. But I feel like if you're unapologetically you, then people gravitate to that, because a lot of people are caught up trying to be something that they're not, because they think that that's the way that they need to be perceived. So when somebody is unapologetically them, they go, maybe it's a subconscious thing, they go, I want to be as honest or as genuine as this person is, and listening to that now gives me like an outlet for maybe thinking about, hey, maybe let me let go of what it is, these social constructs that make me feel like I need to be in this vein of a person that I am.
Since you like write like lyrically different than other people and like about different things, do you find it hard to like relate to other musicians that write about different?
No, my homie, like I don't have any problem finding I think that's one of my favorite things, is finding a way to fit in a situation that's not. Let me see if I can play the song. Is it okay if I play them a song?
You can do whatever you like.
My homie Louis and Friends, he put me on a song called Too Much, and it's about drinking. I don't drink, and he was like, hey, I want you to be on this song. I was like, it's about drinking, bro. You know I don't drink. And he was like, yeah, but I think you can find a way to do it and have it be tight. So I'm gonna play, if it's okay with y'all. I'm on my phone and stuff. It's just, I think that you need to find, if you don't challenge yourself to do things that are outside of what you're comfortable doing and finding a way to still make it your own, then you're not really that good of an artist, you know what I'm saying? Like, you should be able to find a way to make things mesh up. I'll take another question. Yes?
Yeah, kind of along those lines, do you ever like find it hard that if you're around certain people or groups that they like, and drinking happens or like other things happen, do you ever find that like bad situations, like, I don't know, like, you know, I don't know what kind of.
I know what you're saying. The fact that I don't drink is one of those things that like, just, it's not even like, it's not based on religion or anything like that. Like, my grandfather used to drink a lot when I was a kid. And I seen him, like, it would mellow him out. He was a mean person generally, but he was nice. And like, as a kid, I was like, what happens? I'm nice. What happens if I drink? Do I become like a monster? And like, I never really wanted, like, maybe I have too much of a control aspect that I need, so I don't want to get drunk and then go, I don't have control of what it is I'm doing. But I don't have any problem doing it, because I grew up and my dad was the reverend, but we would go like family barbecues or cookouts or stuff like that. Everybody else was drinking. My dad never did. My mom never did. And we never, as kids, as we grew up, we never did. My sisters drink. They have no problem drinking. It never would like appeal to me, and I don't have any problem, because I know how, like, when you're the person who's sober, it's a lot easier for you to de-escalate the situation. But whereas if we were both drunk, we're gonna take it to a whole nother level. Yes?
So when you're just like driving, do you listen to your own music or do you listen to like other artists or kind of artists?
There's a process. I hate everything that, he was playing my music when I came in. I hate that, because I hate listening to myself. It's a real love-hate relationship with recordings, because it's like, I always feel like I could have done that better, or there's a way that I could have made that sound a little bit louder or bigger. So only time that I listen to myself repeatedly is pre the release of an album, because I'm trying to make sure I'm checking it for any possible imperfection or anything I can do to make it better, and post release of an album, because I'm thinking, how much do people hate this? So like, that's like, it's a self-loathing type deal. But then with the recent release From Ohio Love is my most recent album, I did find myself listening to a few tracks on that album and not detesting it. So that's one of those things I was like, okay, I feel like that's a real, you have to separate your ego from, that's the hardest part of being an artist, to separate one's ego from one's art. Because if you feel like a person doesn't like, you give an album out, hey, check out my album. And then like, I was only really messing with track 2 and 3. And you're like, how the hell you only messing with track 2 and 3, bro? That whole joint fire. But it's not, you can't tell somebody how they appreciate something. Like if they only like track 2 and 3, or somebody, one time a guy told me his favorite album was my first album. I was like, bruh, that shit sounds so garbage. I'm sorry. It sounds so garbage. How can you like this? And he's like, it just seemed like it's you at your most genuine. I was like, it's me at my most terrible. And that's your, but I was upset at that. But then I realized you can't tell somebody what their favorite album is, what their favorite track is, or even if you think this is the new hotness, that don't mean that somebody else is gonna feel that same way. So I have tried to learn how to separate myself from my art when I listen to my music, and I think that gives me a better scope of what might be enjoyed more by people. Oh, okay, I'm gonna play that song too much. It's like a 3-minute song, and it'll give you an idea of just.
Yeah, we in the house, feeding cows, sipping dark liquor. Girl, I know you leak through your blouse. My palm trees rolling split. Yeah, got a hit. Got their heads turning little shit. In a 6-speed, so slick. My niggas vibing to it. Girls back into it. Girl, put your back into it. In this party, acting foolish. We all know you steady swerving. You steady leave your car in your feelings. So what's in your cup? Why you drinking so much? Yeah, you tryna get fucked. You can stay over.
This is not my genre of like things that I do, but like
in the morning. So what's in your cup? Why you drinking so much? Yeah, you tryna get fucked.
But I still appreciate everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm not like, oh, bro, that ain't bars, so I can't listen to it. I love everything.
In the morning, baby. Drinking too much, drinking too much, drinking too much, drinking too much, drinking too much. Can't remember what
I wanted to take it up.
Drinking too much, drinking too much, drinking too much, we drinking too much, drinking too much. Can't remember what we did.
Yeah. Hey.
Can't remember what we did.
Yeah. Girl, you never seen the love me when you're sober. Only time I get the text to come on over. It's after a review. What am I to do with someone like you? Cause I get confused. Like, is it the booze? Or is it the truth? Or is it the proof of what you've been sipping, baby? Cause you treat me differently. With something in your system. It's like the liquor be telling you, girl, you know you miss them. So maybe we both gotta have it. Cause I gotta have it. Scratch it up and grab it. Never been as happy. Messing with these average. But you something lavish. Jack was established. When you let your body get ravaged. Now look at us, two addicts. Can admit how problematic our vice is. That entices a situation like this. I need an intervention or hostage negotiation. The way you hold my attention. It's like a Stockholm situation. Cause I'm the only one that gets you. Truth be told, how could I ever quit you now?
Drinking too much, drinking too much, drinking too much, drinking too much.
That's an example of how, like, you find a way to put your style in a song that's really not your style of music. Man, if there's no more questions, y'all been tremendous. I want to give yourself a round of applause right now, please. Thank y'all. This was real easy for me. Y'all was like real engaging. I appreciate that because like there's nothing worse than having a group of people. Bro, you're not that tight. Sit your ass down, bro. But like y'all look. I got a show tonight. If y'all come through, it's a Yellow Cab Tavern. Let me know if y'all like. I guess. Just tell them you from UD and you saw Tino today, and I'll make sure you get in for free. It's $10 cover. But if you want to come through, just let them say, hey, I saw Tino today in Dr. R's class. He said, I'm good. And it's 18 and up, so just at least be 18. Some of y'all might be geniuses and being here at like 16 years old. But it's 18 and up. Just come through. I appreciate y'all.
Way to reach out to your audience there. and oh my gosh, Aren't we all shocked we heard a swear word today?
I'm sorry.
No.
I don't even, you know the crazy thing is,
Ask him.
Yeah, art never.
Oh. I think, okay. Is it every day? Is it, no. Wait, I'm taking video. What am I doing here?
I don't, the crazy thing is I don't even cuss in my raps. Like, that's what the weird part
Seriously?
is. I don't ever swear in the raps. But, like, in real life, I just, like, and I think that's because I had a girlfriend who took me there, and she was just calling me all kinds of things. And I was like, one day I was like, fuck, woman, I ain't taking this shit. And she was like, oh my God, because I never do it. And then from there, the floodgates was open. I was GD and everything. But I still try to keep the music like plays, because like one of my favorite things about being a kid was like being able to listen to albums with my uncle. And a lot of stuff he listened to was like Run DMC and LL Cool J and stuff like that. So it didn't have profanity in it. So he didn't have to worry about, okay, you can't listen to this track, you can't listen to this track. But I also try to make sure that it ain't corny, you know what I'm saying? So that is what it is.
Well, join with me in thanking Tino for going out of his way